Before you hire a realtor, I'd like to ask you one simple question. When three different realtors give you three different prices for the exact same home, who's telling the truth? And think about that for a second. It's the same house in the same neighborhood in the same market, yet somehow one realtor will say it's worth, say, 850, another one will say it's worth 900, and yet another one will say it's worth 950. How is this even possible? And more importantly, how do you know who to trust? And for those that are new to the channel, well, welcome. And for those that aren't new, well, welcome back. My name's Mark Belanger, and I've spent years helping people make some of the biggest financial decisions of their lives. And over those years, I've come to believe something that guides every recommendation that I make. Truth creates better decisions. Not hope, not pressure, not promises, but truth. And speaking of truth, let's have a truthful conversation about the problem. And this is something that isn't discussed very often in real estate. And here it is. Every realtor wants your listing. They want your listing really bad. And this is perfectly normal. This is how we earn a living. No listings equals no income. It's as simple as that. And this is obviously causing a little bit of a challenge. Imagine that you're sitting at the kitchen table and you're interviewing those three realtors. And one tells you exactly what you had hoped your home was worth, and another realtor tells you it's worth less than what you had hoped. Who are you naturally going to feel better about? And most of us want to believe the higher number, not because we're naive, but because we're human. And the problem is, hope is not a pricing strategy. The market doesn't care what I think your home is worth, and it doesn't care what another realtor thinks your home is worth. It only cares what buyers are willing to pay. And if we begin this process with unrealistic expectations, everything that follows becomes more difficult. More stress, more uncertainty, more disappointment. And I don't believe homeowners deserve that. Early in my real estate career, I made a pretty simple decision. If the truth costs me a listing or two along the way, it's a price that I'm willing to pay. Because I don't measure success by the number of signs that you'll see on the front lawn. I measure success by whether my clients can look back months or even years later and say, he told us the truth. And sometimes the truth is exciting. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes the market supports your expectations and sometimes it doesn't. Either way, you deserve honesty, not because it's easy, but because it's useful. People often ask me, Mark, what do you think my home is worth? And I always tell them that that's the wrong question. The better question is, what evidence supports that number? Because opinions don't sell homes. We all know that. Buyers do. Evidence does. And that's why I don't begin with a price. I begin with research. Every valuation I prepare starts with three independent perspectives. First, I study today's Ottawa market. The inventory, the interest rates, the buyer demand, how quickly homes are selling, what's changing, not what happened 6 months ago, what's happening today. Second, we analyze the comparable sales, not the asking prices, not the expired listings, not what someone hopes their neighbor received, what buyers have actually paid for homes that are similar to yours, because closed sales tell the truth. And finally, I review the City of Ottawa assessment. Now, does it determine market value? No, but it gives us another objective reference point. And when all three perspectives begin pointing in the same direction, we're no longer relying on opinion. We're relying on evidence. And that's what I call my three-pillar evaluation. And once we've established where the market is, I come and I see your home specifically. Not to tell you that everything is all wonderful and perfect about it. You already know why you love your home. My responsibility is different. I need to see your home the way the buyer sees your home. How does it compare to the home that they viewed yesterday or the one that they'll see tomorrow? What creates excitement? What creates hesitation? What improvements create value and which ones don't? Sometimes those conversations are difficult, but difficult conversations often protect equity. Avoiding those conversations rarely does. Then at that point, we have a conversation that I believe every homeowner deserves. Not what will my house sell for, but rather what will I actually walk away with? And together we're going to review your estimated selling price, your mortgage payout, your legal fees, the commissions, the closing costs, the adjustments, and so on, and then the estimated net proceeds, because your selling price isn't your financial outcome. Your net proceeds are. That's the number that determines your next move. And whether you're buying another home or you're downsizing or you're investing, that's the number that matters. And that's why every client receives that net proceeds report before ever making a decision. Now, only after we've answered those questions do we actually begin talking about marketing, professional photography, video, digital advertising, social media, agent exposure, negotiation and communication. Marketing absolutely matters, but here's something that I genuinely believe. Great marketing cannot rescue poor strategy. So strategy comes first, and marketing simply amplifies it. Whether you hire me or you hire someone else, I'd like you to ask every single realtor one question. Can you show me how you arrived at that number? Not just the answer, but the thinking, the evidence, the process. If someone can clearly explain how they reached the recommendation, you'll probably have confidence in the recommendation itself. And if they can't, keep asking other questions. This decision is too important based on hope alone. So again, as you're asking questions, you're going to hear it all because they want your listing. You've got to be specific with the methodology, with the research, and how you actually got to that number. Everything after that, the marketing and the know-how and the process and everything else is a subset of that specific strategy. Selling your home is about much more than moving. Obviously, it's about your future. It's about your family. It's about your opportunities, your next chapter. And you deserve advice that's grounded in evidence. You deserve conversations that are honest, even when they're difficult, especially when they're difficult. Because long after the moving truck has left, and long after the paperwork has been signed, and long after the commissions have been paid, you'll remember one thing: whether your realtor told you the truth. And I believe homeowners deserve, at minimum, that. And I believe that's where trust begins. So again, my name is Mark Belanger. Thank you for watching. My contact details are below, as is my calendar. We start with a conversation, a truthful conversation. We back it up with the stats. We follow that with more truthful conversation, and we build a strategy. So I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to putting these videos together on a weekly basis. Until the next video, stay smart, stay invested, and I'll see you the next opportunity.